This video covers 2.2 linear equations using the properties together, Objective 2. Combine like terms and use the distributive property to solve linear equations. Example 3. On the two sides of the equation, on the left we see negative 12, on the right we see negative 5x plus 4 minus 3x. We have to combine our like terms before we solve. Negative 5x minus 3x is negative 8x. So the right side simplifies first to negative 8x plus 4. And now we have something from Objective 1. We have two things happening to x, multiplication by negative 8 and addition of 4. So we always undo the addition first by subtracting 4. Those cancel, and we're left with negative 16 on the left and negative 8x on the right. We solve this by looking at the negative 8x. It's negative 8 times x, so we divide by negative 8 to get rid of the negative 8. Remember, if it's a multiplication, we do the opposite, which is division. Dividing by negative 8, we're left with x on the right, and negative 16 divided by negative 8 is 2. So we get 2 for our solution. Again, we can check this by plugging in 2. Negative 5 times 2 would be negative 10 plus 4, and negative 3 times 2 would be negative 6. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6, minus 6 is negative 12. Example 4, we have the parentheses there. When we see parentheses, we should think distributive property. So I'm going to distribute the 2/3 first to the 2n and second to the minus or the negative n. I know that the positive 2/3 times the negative 9 is going to be a minus sign, so I place the minus sign there. We have 9 over 1 equals 10. 2/3 times 2n, there's two 2's on top, which is 4, and 3 times 1 on the bottom, which is then 4/3. 3 goes into 3 once, into 9 3 times, and 2 times 3 is 6. Now we have to simplify on the left side. 8 plus 4/3 n minus 6. The 8 is like the negative 6. Those are the like terms. 8 minus 6 is positive 2, giving us 4/3 n plus 2 equals 10. Now we have a problem that looks like from Objective 1. We have 4/3 times n plus 2. So what's happening to the variable? 4/3 times n plus 2, we undo the plus 2 first. Subtracting 2. 10 minus 2 is 8, and we have 4/3 times n equals 8. When we have a fraction in front of our variable, we multiply by the reciprocal to get rid of it. Reciprocal of 4/3 is 3/4, and so we multiply both sides by 3/4. That cancels with that, and I'm left with n equals 4 goes into 4 once, into 8 twice, and 2 times 3 is 6. And so I get n equals 6. A good exercise for you would be to plug n equals 6 back in. 6 times 2 is 12, minus 9 is 3, times 2/3 is 2, plus 8 is 10. That would be a great exercise for you to check that. All right, that leads me to the practice problems for you to try. You have 3 of them there. And so I encourage you to press pause on your video and come back when you're ready to see the solutions worked out. Okay, so now that you've had a chance to see these worked out, I'll work these out with you. We subtract 8 from both sides. Cancels the 8s. 14 minus 8 is 6. And we have negative 3x. Solving that, we divide by the negative 3. And we get x equals negative 2. When we get down to the expression negative 3x and the equation negative 3x equals 6, you'll start to hear me call this the coefficient. When the coefficient of x is negative 3, we need to divide by negative 3. That's a term that you'll hear me use a lot now. Practice 2. On the left side, we must simplify first. 6c plus 2c is 8c, and then we have the minus 2 equals negative 26. We undo the negative 2 or the minus 2 by adding 2, and that leaves us with 8c equals negative 26 plus 2 is negative 24. We solve for c by dividing by 8, giving us c equal to negative 3. Here, when I got down to 8c, the coefficient of c was 8, so we divided by the coefficient, which is 8. Practice 3, we distribute the 1/3 first to the 2, which leaves us with 2/3 x, and distribute the 1/3 to the 9. 1/3 times 9 is 3. Now on the left side of this equation, we have like terms. The 2 terms have the x on them, 2/3 x and x over 3. Now that looks a little bit strange because one of them says 2/3 times x and the other one says x over 3. 2/3 x, and then when you have x over 3, there's a 1 on the top, so you must think of this as 1/3 times x. 1/3 x and x over 3 are the same thing. Now we simplify that expression by combining the coefficients. 2/3 and 1/3 is 3/3, which just leaves us with x. So our left side, 2/3 x plus x over 3 becomes x, and then plus 3 equals 5. Now that's a pretty simple one to solve. Probably already see that that would be 2 plus 3 is 5. We would find that by subtracting 3 and get x is equal to 2. This concludes the video for section 2.2, Objective 2.